The month of July is Fibroid Awareness Month, and uterine fibroid is something that affects countless women, and this manifests through different symptoms, and this goes a long way to disrupt their lives and entire well-being. For so many women, it's almost like a nightmare. I don't know about your story, but today on the show, we'll be looking at the topic uterine fibroid, and of course, there will be a live testimony. So someone would share her story of how she navigated through her, I won't want to call it a traumatic experience, but of course, she conquered at the end of the day. My name is Doris Mayim-Shishe, and of course, this is Gyna Plus, where we talk about health issues that affect women and girls in the society. This show comes up every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and there's always a repeat broadcast on Saturday at 8 p.m. And of course, today, before you meet my guest, is someone you already know, by the way. I will take a short break, and right after that, we'll delve into the conversation. Please do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Gyna Plus right here on Africa TV. This is where we talk about health issues that affect women and girls in the society. And today, we're looking at a topic, uterine fibroid. Like I said before, this is something that affects so many women, and quite a number of these women don't want to talk about it for reasons, of course, best known to them. And now I have an expert in the building, someone you're already familiar with. And of course, I'm talking about Dr. Brenda Akanisi. It's been a long time when they said Dr. Brenda. Welcome.
Thank you,
and as always, you copied. I didn't give you the memo, but how you came up with
you keep getting the memo. Doris, I was expecting you.
How are you, Dr. Brenda?
I'm very good, Doris.
It's good to have
good
you.
To see
After
you.
like a month plus?
Yeah, over a month.
Okay, that was, I think, May.
Thereabout, yeah. Like May, yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, fibroid. The stories on social media, the conversation is up again. And thankfully or coincidentally, this is July. It's Fibroid Awareness Month. But take us through the background. Or sometimes it's just a word. What is fibroid?
Fibroid is actually a benign growth that occurs within the uterus. So it's non-cancerous. So it's a good. So when you say non-cancerous, get that sign of relief. So it's a benign tumor, right? And now when somebody says they have fibroid, we have different types. So it's based on where it is located, right? So now if it's located, so it can be located inside within the wall of the uterus, it can be located on the muscle of the uterus, or it can be located outwards of the uterus, right? And also there's one we call pediculated, so it's like a little stalk attached to the outer, part of the uterus, right? So now the location is important because it affects your symptoms, right? And also it also helps in management. Because let's say now, if this is the uterus and the growth is outside, it really can't affect, fertility, can't really affect the baby that is growing within the uterus. Do you understand? So that's why it's important to know, where these tumors are located.
Oftentimes, when people ask about what is it cause, you see, before now we hear stories like once a woman gets to, 30 and she's never had a baby before, she's going to have a fibroid because the baby takes the space of, the fibroid rather takes the space of the baby. I don't know how medically true that can be or that is. But then again, what is responsible? Are there risk factors?
Okay, currently, nobody can say for certain this is the cause of, for example, now you can say, pill falciparum causes malaria. Nobody can come and say this exactly causes, fibroid, but there are risk factors to it. And they've also noticed that if there's a relation within a family that has fibroid, most likely the other females in that family will have it. Now, also, they've noticed it's more among Black women. But just to take, for instance, like millions of women have this, right? So we'll have about 80% of women having this. So let's say we have 10 women in this room. About 8 most likely will have fibroid. But the thing about it is that a lot of time it is not symptomatic. It is just there. Sometimes it's even actually found accidentally. Let's say now somebody just doing a scan to check for something else and doctor just, okay, there's a fibroid there. Do you understand? But when it now becomes symptomatic, that's when people now go out to specifically look for, I'm feeling this pain, I'm maybe urinating more often, I'm being constipated, and my menstrual flow is increasing too much, my menstrual flow is just finished and reoccurred again. So when those symptoms keep happening, that's when people now go specifically to check and say, okay, do I have, a fibroid? Another risk factor is also obesity. Obesity practically causes a lot of things. So, on this show, we talk about lifestyle a lot. So So it also tells you if obesity causes it, what causes obesity? Your diet. So for you to be obese, that means your diet, that means you're not exercising properly. So you can see how these things are all, correlated. So I say these are the major risk factors we've noticed that causes fibroid.
No, I mean, so the point where they say once you're 30 and you've never been pregnant.
No. What? Actually, would I say the peak age range for people that come with fibroid asymptomatic would be between 30 years and 50 years. That's the, age range. Do you understand? Another thing we also noticed that if you started your period early, that you have early menarche, then you're predisposed to having fibroid. And also if you have a late menopause, because also this fibroid feeds on what we call the female hormones, your estrogen. Do you understand? So these are all, will I say, correlated. Do you get? And funny enough, that's where diet comes in, because actually insulin has been linked to fibroid, and that's actually the connection of estrogen. Because when you have an increased insulin, most likely you have an increased estrogen that, these tumors are feeding on to keep growing. Do you understand? So I don't agree with, because somebody is 30 and have a fibroid because you've not gotten pregnant. No.
Before, yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, that's quite relieving, right? Because I've had a lot of conversations around there. But then again, are there certain things to look at for? Now, I know that, that times they will tell you, I've seen quite a number of women that will tell you they're not pregnant, but they're already looking pregnant. Could that be fibroid? At what point does it get to, what is,
Now, I do know a couple of people that, how they found that they had fibroid, they just felt something on their abdomen.
Like it was moving?
Yeah, they felt like, an abnormal growth, and they're like, okay, what is this? Do you understand? And they went to see their doctor, did a scan, and actually it was fibroid. So, so that means, in that case, that means the fibroid is actually large in size. So that means it's now beginning to present with symptoms. And let's say now, I told you earlier on, this classification is based on, where it's located. Now, the uterus, let's say we have the uterus here. In front, we have, our organs that help us to urinate and all that. At the back is our digestive tract in relationship to the uterus. So now that's why you can have increased urination. So if the tumor is growing and pressing on the bladder, so your bladder is not emptying properly. Do you get? So that means you will easily feel like, I want to pee. Now, if the tumor now is not pressing on your digestive tract, which is now located at the back, right, you can now be constipated. So when you have those symptoms, and now, if the uterus is within the wall, right? And when you're having your menstrues, shedding of the inner lining of the uterus. So with that constant shedding, now the tumor is there. So there's more surface area for more bleeding to occur. Do you understand? And that's why you see people have heavy menstrual flow. Do you get? So most times people have very heavy menstrual flow. Sometimes it's like, okay, I need to go see my OBGYN and see what the problem is. And in process of doing a scan, they find out, this is the underlying factor.
Now that's one way.
And also painful sex.
Okay.
When people have painful, because there's something blocking the normal, there's meant to be a free passage. Do you understand? So when something is growing and it's becoming, and sometimes when you see the size of these things, it's a bit like, wow, alarming. When you see the size of, the tumor.
So yes, I understand the fact that all these signs are, you talked about the bleeding, you talked about this, but what would warrant me to go for a scan in the first place? Are there things I should ordinarily look at? For instance, I'm not pregnant, and obviously I don't plan to be, and all of a sudden, am I supposed to feel some pregnancy-like symptoms, or why do I just need to go for a scan? Like, is that something that warrant want to check, basically?
No, you just don't do, there's different. Let's say now, you can do normal, like routine breast scan. Okay. Because you're, trying to prevent breast cancer. But you don't routinely say, I want to go and scan my uterus. It's not something that, routinely do. But that's what I'm saying. When you're having some symptoms that seem abnormal, that's why I said majority of the fibroid cases, sometimes it's found accidentally. Even sometimes, let's say a woman is pregnant. They're just scanning to check, how viable the baby is, and all of that. And the next day, like, there's, Now, also people that have infertility issues, they may just go to see their doctor and say, okay, doctor, we've been trying to have a child and it's not possible. And the person was scanning, you have a fibroid. Do you get? So most of the time it's picked up in such instances. But it's not something that I just go and say, okay, I just want to go and check. Maybe because, my mother has a fibroid. Let me just go and check. Do you understand?
Okay, so very quickly before we go on a break, I've also heard stories that No, you talked about lifestyle a while ago. So I don't know if there's certain diets that women should, you mentioned insulin a while ago. Are there certain diet that women should, once you're 30, probably would stop, taking so it doesn't increase your risk of, coming down with a fibroid? Or again, alcohol is something I've also heard. I don't know, medically, does this also help?
Yes, it's also a risk factor, alcohol.
Okay.
But alcohol is also a risk factor because, but then again, it's like, I won't say in our own location, do we consume that much? So I'm just, the ones I highlighted are things that I know on the normal day. There's no way, let's say in a full meal a day will have a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar. Do you understand? You're going to work, you're tired. Oh, where's that Coke? You just quickly take it. Or you go for another function, they pass you. You're just, you just keep taking a lot of, frizzy drinks, snacking a lot and all that. And people don't know that all these things are interconnected. So in all honesty, when people keep saying diet, lifestyle, it's not as if they just want to keep ringing a bell that is just, they're just making noise, but it's actually interconnected. And you can, earlier you said 30 years. No, you don't wait to be for 30 years, start living healthy. So it's a healthy habit you have to build from inception so that it comes natural to you. Do you understand? So even sometimes they've said that, okay, for those who have fiber, sometimes you can be on a keto diet, it helps. So which is a diet filled more with protein. Then also you can eat more of your fruits and vegetables, which is something we advise, generally. So you remember I said the risk factor obesity. So imagine if you're constantly on fruits, vegetables and all, you'll definitely lose the weight, which will help reduce your symptoms of fibroid. Do you understand?
All right. Thank you so much, for clearing that up. You're still watching Gyna Plus, by the way, and I'm getting already, there's this level of knowledge I'm, getting right here. I'm learning so much on the show, and I hope that you're also learning as much. At this point, we'll take a short break, but after the break, you will meet someone that, of course, it took us so much time to bring her on board. She's ready to share her story, let us know how she came down with a fibroid, of course, at the same time as her baby. And it was victorious at the end of the day. But, I think you should listen to that story yourself. Do stay tuned. We'll be back. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching Gyna Plus right here on AFI TV. This is where we discuss health issues that affect women and girls in the society. And of course, we're still talking about uterine fibroid. And by the way, my name is Doris Mayim-Shishe. Earlier on the show, I had promised to bring someone who shared experience on, how she battled fibroid and of course her baby. And ladies and gentlemen, right now I have a very beautiful lady. She is one of us, actually. Someone you may have seen, and a voice you're very familiar with. And of course, I have Sylvia Briggs Mbah, Mama T, as she's popularly called. Mama, you look so beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't get to see your makeup on regular basis.
I know, right?
You look so
Thank
beautiful.
you so much. Thank you.
About uterine fibroid, the discussion seems to be, on now, because July is Fibroid Awareness Month. Right. But away from that, a lot of women shy away from talking about it. Sometimes it just feels like, when you have fibroid, something that is a killer.
You shouldn't talk about, there'll be stigmatization.
Of course, that's the whole thing around it. So I'm glad that you're ready to share your story, because I know it might be sort of inspiration to another person out there. Okay. But then again, what was it like for you, your baby, fibroid journey? What was it like generally?
Okay, so for me, at first I was confused because I had my first child. And then my second child, I was not hearing fibroid. I'm like, okay, from where to where? As a single girl, I didn't have anything with fibroid. It never came up, And
your mama never had it? Your mom?
I think at later age, yes. She's talked about it, but she's never gone for surgery, because I was made to understand that every woman, but not everyone would go through that surgery, process and all of that. And then my second child, I kept having this pain with the second pregnancy. And I went to the doctors. They said, it was fibroid. It's struggling with the baby. It's like false baby. So it's growing as the child is growing. I'm like, I don't understand. Please let it not grow. It's only the child I want, And it was a whole lot of pains, And at some point, I was always going to the hospital, for checkup, regular checkup because of the fibroid. Okay, is the baby doing okay? It was more like a battle going on in my stomach.
Was there some sort of bleeding?
Yes, spotting at some point, so that's why I had to frequent the hospital. So they're always checking to make sure, okay, the baby's going fine, is okay, nothing is wrong with the child, and to know what's happening with the false baby also, So it was more like a match in my stomach, survival of the fetus, and it went on and on until some point I was like, okay, do I need to have a surgery for the baby to be taken out and the fibroid also, and I got response like, oh, normally they wouldn't want to take out the both at the same time because of bleeding. At the time, this was in Lagos, I'm like, okay, so what is going to happen? They said, let's just keep watching, and thank God, thankfully, at some point, they told me, oh, you don't need to worry. The fibroid is not going anymore. The baby is now bigger than the fibroid, so you just need to manage the pain until you give birth. And then I had a CS and they brought out the baby. And I didn't hear about fibroid anymore till my third baby. So my third baby time, I was going for, of course, you go for your normal antenatal, your scheduled scan. And there was no talk about CS, about fibroid rather. So in my head, okay, maybe it shrunk or what's going on? Why is no one telling me about fibroid, anymore? Until day of delivery, I had elective CS because I just had CS, and then not long ago I took in for the third baby. And I spent 5 hours in the theater. Everyone was worried, what's going on, what's happening. And my mom said while in the theater, the amount of blood they opened, and she saw what was going on. She was screaming that what's going on, the amount of blood she's seeing. It was as if they were trying to pack it, and all of that. Why is it taking 5 hours? Normal CS, tops, 40 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, tops 1 hour, you're out. So why am I spending 5 hours there, with nurses going back and forth? And, finally I came out after the 5 hours, of course, and talking to the doctor the next day was like, okay, it was a battle. When they opened, they saw fibroids, and the fibroid was blocking the baby. So they had to get to the baby. So they decided to take that. They didn't take out all, but they had to take out, like, he said 2 or so, but the ones that were blocking the child, to take out the baby, that is a very risky procedure. That isn't serious. I just had a major surgery, not
okay, so
serious.
Yes, I mean, after then, this happened like about a year ago.
About 2 years ago. He just turned 2.
Okay, about 2 years ago. And upward, from that time upwards till now, you've not had any signs, no symptoms?
No, no pain, no nothing,
and
no pain.
Did you bother going for any scan?
Oh yeah, one. I did one, and then everything was looking good, know. I did one. Right now, I just told myself, you know what? It's like whenever I get pregnant, this fibroid thing comes up. I'm done.
Yeah, it's a good thing, like I said before, that you're bold enough to share your story. And there's so many women who are not ready to talk about it because it's a bit traumatic for them. So thank you so much. And I really hope that someone get inspired from Mama T's story. I'm used to calling her Mama T. Sylvia's story. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, Dr. Brenda will still come back and of course talk to us about more some of the medical angles to, look into when this thing happens. Stay tuned. We're going to break right now. If you just joined us, this is Gyna Plus right here on Afia TV, where we talk about health issues that affect women and girls in the society. And today we're talking about uterine fibroid. Now you can see the mood on my face. It's not like I'm sad. I'm actually not sad. But then again, I'm deeply concerned. You heard Mama T's story, Sylvia's story. And for her, she's bold enough to share. But there are a lot of women out there who are watching us right now that, of course, probably they're still feeling somehow because that has not been such a successful one. But of course, Dr. Brenda is here. You listen to her.
Yes.
So what do you make here?
Okay, let me not lie to you. It's a bit emotional because, this is your gender. This is something that you face because not only are you female, you're also black. You're also a black female. Do you get? And I just want to put this out there. I think we need to start giving fibroid the attention it deserves. We need to start putting in the time to do more research. Do you understand? It's not just enough for us to say, oh, this is, we don't know the cause, or this is, we should put more effort, I think, because this is something that affects us. Do you understand? And it's when you say that 80%, right? It seems it's just a number. But just imagine you have 10 females in your family. That means 8 of them might have it. So and when you have this and it's quite symptomatic, it limits your potential of doing so much more because of the symptoms. It's just, especially sometimes when you're in pain and all of that, it just destabilizes you. So I think more research needs to be done on that. And just hearing Mama T's story I applaud her. First of all, I applaud her for coming out, because I'm going to be honest with you, quite a number of people don't come out to say they have fibroids when you quite know well that a lot of females have it. It's something they can have as a private discussion, but not openly. And also the video that was trending a bit, the popular actress who talked about it. So kudos to people who are willing to come out, because if you had gone through the comment section, you see a lot of people could relate. Or so, oh, it happened to me. Oh, my own came back. Oh, this happened. And when you commonize a problem, you've solved it already. Like, you don't make it just your own. You make it our own. Then we can bring our tools together and say, okay, how can we manage this better? Or how can we find other ways to better either prevent it or make sure it doesn't cause so much discomfort to people who experience this fibroid. So I just want to applaud them. It's not an easy thing to do, because to be honest with you, do I have relatives and friends who have experienced this, who have gone under the knife? Yes, I have. And it's not, when you see your own colleague who is scared to go under the knife, like, because you know the symptoms, you know the outcome, do you understand? But then again, it's not a dead sentence, because thank God, like I said initially, it's benign, it's not cancerous. Will I say, so we can go there, take it out by doing, you know, a myomectomy and all that. So I'm guessing in the next episode, we'll probably talk about the process, management and all that you get. So I just want to say, more hands needs to be on deck to make sure we spread the message. So thank you, Doris, because after we've talked about fibroid last year.
That was the first time we had to the very first.
Yeah, so thank you. I would suggest right now, if we could even do like a special series just on fibroid, because I don't even know which other tumor affects females as much as this. So it's something
definitely we'll look into it. Thank you so much, Dr. Brenda. And of course, the discussion is not over yet. Just like she said, it's going to be a part 2 of this. There's no way it's going to end here, by the way. And in the next
part 3.
possibly a longer series, and we'll talk about the treatment plan. We'll demystify some of the things that we've said about fibroid, and of course, you'll learn more how to possibly prevent it. So just keep looking out for this program on Afia TV every Wednesday 6 p.m. and a repeat broadcast on Saturday at 8 p.m. Of course, my name is Doris Mayim-Shishe. It's always so annoying saying goodbye, but I have to say it anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.